today's story is Elvis the Squirrel. Let's go! Chapter 1. Hurry up, Chuck, said Elvis the Squirrel. Breakfast is served. Elvis had spotted some bread on a bird table in the nearest garden and was scampering toward the fence. His best friend Chunk was trying to keep up. "Hang on, Elvis," he said. "That food isn't meant for us. The people who live here put it out for the birds." "So what?" said Elvis. "I don't see any birds. Do you?" No," said Chuck nervously. "In fact, it's very quiet around here this morning. A bit too quiet." "Excuse me," said Elvis. "What are you talking about now?" "Listen, I know the bread looks tempting," said Chuck, "but we should check out the area before we rush in." "We'll miss out if we do," said Elvis. "Come on, what could happen?" "Last one, there's a total tweet." He jumped onto the fence and headed for the bird table. Suddenly, there was a flapping noise, and the shadow fell over them. The squirrel looked up and squeaked in surprise. A big dark bird swooped down from the sky, grabbed Chuck in its claws and flew over, cackling with Elvis' laughter. "Help me, Elvis!" screamed Chuck. But there was nothing Elvis could do. "Phew, thank goodness he's gone," somebody said. Elvis turned and saw a group of birds landing on the bird table. There was a slim magpie, the one who had spoken, a plump pigeon, a small bullet, and a tiny robin. "Who was that?" said Elvis. "And where has he taken my friend?" "That's our Lonnie the raven," said the magpie. "He's terrifying. We keep out of the way when he's around," said the robin. "He's probably taken your friend to his nest," said the bullet, "where he liked to keep his victims for a while," said the pigeon. I think that's enough for now," said the robin quickly, "before he eats them for dinner," the pigeon added, ignoring him. "What?" squeaked Elvis, horrified. He can't do that." "He can," said the magpie. "Who's going to stop him? You?" "Yes, I am actually," said Elvis. Suddenly he felt across with this gang of birds. I will sort him out. Just tell me where he lives, okay? Listen, chum, you don't want to know, said the magpie. And why should we? You were after our group, aren't you? Finders keepers, snapped Elvis. Now, are you going to tell me or not? Oh, go on, said the blue-tit. Lonnie might enjoy a dessert. Three of the birds laughed till the tears rolled down their backs. Only the robin didn't join in. Chapter 3. After a while, the magpie told Elvis where Lonnie lived. What's a bunch of bird brains? The squirrel muttered, as he scampered through the woods. He was sure he'd rescue his friend in no time. At last, Elvis came to Lonnie's tree. Quietly, he climbed the one next to it and peeped from behind its trunk. There was Ronnie's nest, and there was Chuck. Elvis could see his friend huddled in a ball. He looked scared. But okay, Lonnie was in the nest too, standing over Chuck, his wings folded. Lonnie doesn't look that scary, thought Elvis. Those silly birds have been talking rubbish. He crouched, ready to leap into the nest and show Lonnie who was boss. But he brushed against the branch, and it cracked. Lonnie whispered loud in a flash, spread his wings, and instantly seemed enormous. A massive claw shot out and grabbed Chuck by the neck. Lonnie's wickedly sharp beak gleamed, and Chuck whimpered. Who's there? Lonnie hissed. His evil eyes glinting as they scanned the nearby tree. I will rip you to pieces if you're trying to steal my dinner. Elvis ran away as fast as his little legs could carry him. Chapter 4. Elvis didn't stop running till he came to a tree on the far side of the tree. He sat there on a branch, trembling. He knew now the bird gang had been licked, but Lonnie was even scarier than they'd said. Suddenly there was a flapping noise, and something landed beside him. Elvis nearly jumped out of his fur. But it was only the robin. Is everything okay? She asked. Elvis shook his head miserably. Well, we did try to warn you. I know, Elvis groaned, but I didn't listen, just like I didn't listen to Chuck. This is all my fault, and there's no way I can save him. Then Elvis had an idea. Wait a minute. What about you and your friends? I think I could save Chuck if you helped me. I'd be happy to, said Robin, but it won't be easy pursuing the last of the gang. You're not their favorite squirrel, are you? Elvis suddenly felt ashamed of the way he'd behaved earlier. And if will be a tough job even if we all work together, said the Levin. Mind you, we'd love to see Lonnie's, thought the lesson. So if you could come up with a plan, Elvis started at her. A plan to beat Lonnie? It seemed impossible, but unless he could think of one, his best friend was doomed. Right, said Elvis through gritted teeth. Leave it with me. Then he scampered off into the woods, back toward Lonnie's nest. Chapter 5. Elvis picked at Lonnie's nest from the shadow. Chunk hadn't been eaten yet. Thank goodness. But suddenly there was a strange rumbling noise. Oh, I beg your pardon, said Lonnie, looming over Chuck. That was my tummy. I'd believe it trying to tell me it's nearly dinner time. Chuck whimpered, and Elvis scowled. Think, he whispered to himself. Oh, it's only I were clever like Chuck. What would he do if I were in the nest? Then Elvis remembered what Chuck had said. We should check out the area. Elvis did just that, and immediately saw something interesting. It's somebody chewed through that washing line. And the branch did that. And Lonnie was standing there. It might just work. Elvis ran off to find the bird gang. They were on their table. Here comes trouble, muttered the magpie. What do you want now? Don't be like that, said Robin. Just listen to him, will you? Look, I know I was cheeky to you earlier. Three birds stared at him stonily. But I need your help to save my friend. From Lonnie the Raven? Said the pigeon. You must be joking. Yeah, how are we supposed to do that? Muttered the blue-tit. Actually, I've come up with a very cunning plan, said Elvis. And if it works, well, I promise it will be the funniest thing you've ever seen. I like the sound of that, mourned the magpie. Tell me more. Chapter 6. A little later, Elvis and the bird gang were hiding near Lonnie's nest. They were all feeling nervous, but determined. at the same time. Now remember, said Elvis, the plan is for me to catch Lonnie's eye and get him to move into the right position. And while I am doing that, you lot can choose through the washing line. Okay, let's go. Hang on a second, said the magpie. It ought to be the other way round. You're a squirrel, so you'd be much better at chewing than us. And we'd be better at catching Lonnie's eye, said the pigeon. We won't have to get close to him to do it either, said the blue tit. I mean, that might be pretty dangerous. Lonnie can move very faster. Elvis was about to say no. He wanted Chuck to see him doing the dangerous stuff. Then he nodded the robin looking at him, and he realized he was making the same old mistake. He wasn't listening. You're right, said Elvis. That is the best way. Now, places everybody. The bird gang took up their position. Elvis waited a second, then nodded to them, and they swooped down toward Lonnie's nest. They flew around it, screeching and called his names. Lonnie hopped onto the side of his nest and hissed at them. He was in just the right place, and Elvis started chewing. Clear off you scruffy vermin, Lonnie screeched. Or I swear I will. But Lonnie never did finish making his threat. Elvis had done a good job for suddenly. Twag, whoosh, smack. Lonnie was knocked clean off his perch and plucked to the ground. Elvis and the bird gang met on the tree, and everyone laughed and laughed and laughed. Chuck peeped at them over the edge of Lonnie's nest. Wow, that was so cool, he murmured. How did you do it? It was more than just cool, said the magpie. It was utterly brilliant. The rest of the gang nodded in agreement. Then the robin nudged the magpie. Oh yes, said the magpie. Do you two fancy joining us for some supper? There's still plenty of bread left. Elvis grinned. Now that was the best thing he'd heard all day. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.